Oh my gosh! Boys!
Totally redeem yourself!
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 9 long years since we have been in meaningful football in January, and this game it checks so many boxes for us Broncos country. I can't even tell you how many records have been broke. I've got a whole slate of just written down like quick jotted things of like, well, that's mind-blowing. Well, that's mind-blowing. Well, that's mind-blowing that we're going to get to on this show. I'm lost for words. But what a glorious day this is for Broncos country. It is 9 years in the making with a 38-0 victory over our arch nemesis, Kansas City Chiefs. Boys and girls, today on the Buck Your Feelings post-game podcast, we are going to get into probably the best game that we've had in a long, long time. And I don't want to hear about the JV squad that we played against. This was all us. We drove this boat all the way home with all positive vibes, and we're going to have a lot of positive vibes going into this. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is the Buck Your Feelings post-game show. Let's go. DJ, let it breathe! Oh my God! I needed that. Needed that. Oh,
The Denver Broncos are going to the playoffs.
I feel like the old lady in Titanic. It's been 9 years. It has been so long. So long. None of my children have seen the Broncos in the playoffs. And
the last time the Broncos made the playoffs, we won the Super Bowl. And that year, my oldest son, who just turned 10 a couple of days ago, was born. There you go.
Yeah, man. I don't know where y'all were in life 9 years ago, but life has drastically changed for at least myself. And I know you, Johnny, in the last 9 years. And it is so nice, not only just to get into the playoffs, but like we have a team that we should be proud of. We have a head coach that we should be proud of. Just the overall vibes of the Denver Broncos are back as a proud, standing franchise, a cornerstone of this league.
Yes.
How you feeling, Johnny?
I dude, the last time we were in the playoffs, I had abs. Okay?
Well,
like The last time we were in the playoffs, I was just coming back from my second deployment to Afghanistan. Okay? Like, the last time that we went to the playoffs, Isaiah and I had just become best friends. Like, that is how long it has been since this has been a thing for us. We are finally there. And you know what? Win or lose in round one, I don't care because we're there.
This definitely felt like a I know everyone in Chiefs Kingdom is poo-pooing this, and I would have known that was going to happen irregardless of this game. But isn't it so sweet seeing on the sideline towards the end of that game, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes just together weeping? Just they look distraught. I mean, you can't tell me that franchise didn't feel today. Doesn't matter what the players were. Like, they felt that today.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
And here's where we are. That is exactly where we are. Listen, I don't give a crap if people want to say that we backed into the playoffs. I don't care that we had to defeat the Chiefs' second stringers. Listen, we came this close. And I mean, it was a lucky field goal block that kept us from beating the Chiefs starters earlier in the season. That was it. That, like, I don't know if you recall that the end of that game, like the last minute, 20 seconds of that game, they were focusing on the crowd, and Chiefs fans were in the stands, like,
yeah.
And like Patrick Mahomes was on the sideline, almost like with his head buried in his hands. Like, that's where we had them. They got lucky on a lucky field goal block to win that game. We nearly had their starters dead to rights, and so exactly what we did today. That's what we should have done. I don't know why anybody wants to poo-poo about it. Okay, whatever. What we did to them, a shutout. 38. Do you realize, Jay, that there was not that we didn't have a single, are you ready for this? A single kickoff return, because there was only one kickoff for the Chiefs the whole game. And they kicked a touchback.
Holy shnikes.
I mean, a shutout, 38-0. It's exactly what you would expect from a playoff-bound team to do to the second stringers.
And I'll read my first bullet point that I wrote down. This is the largest victory against the Kansas City Chiefs in Denver Broncos history. The entirety of the franchise history, the biggest win against the Kansas City Chiefs, arguably our biggest rival. I would say other than the Raiders. I don't
care how it comes, I'll take it.
And they get to sit on this feeling, this game, for the next 25 plus days because of the bye. So, like, it can't be a good feeling. And that coaching staff absolutely tried in a lot of, they might not have had the personnel, but, like, you look over at Steve Spagnuolo, Spags, he was fuming this entire game because the scheme is supposed to be better than the players, at least on their defensive side of the ball, and it always has been. It's their scheme of why their defense is fantastic. It ain't their players. They've never had that great. Chris Jones.
Well, I mean, they have good players. You can't say that Chris Jones is not a phenomenal player. You cannot say that who else? What's his name?
McDuffie
right.
and
Reed. McDuffie is not a phenomenal cornerback. They have great players, but even so, and they're going to sit here. The Chiefs are going to sit here and make so you know them. They're going to sit here and be like, we didn't even game plan for this one. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I don't buy it. And even if that's true, I don't care. I don't care. Like, here's what could have happened. Okay. Now, I said this in the pregame show. I said that they could be looking at the Broncos and the Bengals and being like, who is the greater threat to us postseason? Is it the Broncos or is it the Bengals? Now, naturally, we are always the most underestimated team in this league. Okay. The Bengals are a darling of this league now. And so I guarantee you, just like everybody else, even if we had been the greater threat, we would have been overlooked. So they overlook us and they go, okay, so what could we do today? We either throw the game, let the Broncos destroy us, and and then the Broncos go to the postseason, and we risk having to face the Broncos again, maybe. Or we actually go out and attempt another win here. And, they'll let the Bengals squeak in.
Yeah.
And, and we don't want that. We don't want, that's how they looked at it. We don't want the Bengals. So either way, whatever it is, I don't care. I don't care.
I knew that this was going to be a game that their offense was going to struggle. And I think Andy Reid wasn't going to show any tricks of the trade today. This was going to be a vanilla play calling on their side of the ball.
Also Carson Wentz. It's not like you can expect anything spectacular.
This is true. But it was not expected that their defense was going to fold the way it did against our offense. And no one's going to tell me otherwise.
Look at this. Oh, well, first, by the way, can we just get to the comments? Because it's exploded.
Absolutely.
We got Dave Full Glassman in the house saying the intro was too long. You know what? I don't care. Dave, I like my intro. I'm going to stick with it. Thank you. Says, which, by the way, congratulations, Mr. Full Glassman, who just won the fantasy league, our fantasy league.
Yes, sir. T-shirt from the shop. So please let me know your size and the design that you would like, and I will get the logistics in order. So we'll be
Jay is the man for that.
Via Facebook Messenger, sir.
Yes, sir. We got a 6'10" Mexican, Don Diaz, a host here on the Orange and Blue Network, saying, "Welcome to the postseason, Broncos Country." It's weird, a weird feeling, isn't it?
It is strange. It is strange because it has been really depressing being such a great franchise that has Super Bowls. That is, we're one of the best franchises, a cornerstone. It'd be like, honestly, if you took a 9-year block and the Steelers just absolutely sucked, which really has never happened in their franchise history. Don't you remember back in the day, we had the stat of that we had less losing seasons than Super Bowls. In the Pat Bowlen era. That was just the cornerstone of, why our fan base was so proud. And we've lost a little bit of that in the last 9 years. We're back, baby. We're back. And it's not just making the playoffs. It's how this team performs. It's how this team looks. And it is where on the timeline this team is. We've talked about this. This is the floor, people. There's only going up from here.
We did this with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Whether we backed into the playoffs in the final game of the regular season or not, we did this with a rookie quarterback. We were 5.5 point. We were predicted 5.5 wins this season. We just doubled it. All right. Bo Nix is number 10. We got 10 wins. My son just turned 10 3 days ago. We got 10 wins. I'm going to go ahead and give him a shout out for that. Well done, son. But either way, we did that with a rookie quarterback. Okay. And so while I'm saying it, while I don't expect, and I don't think anybody should, while I don't expect us to march into Buffalo next weekend and walk out victorious, I can be hopeful that we might pull off a Mile High miracle. I don't know. But the fact is, we are there. And that's what matters. That is the new baseline that we can judge our future seasons upon. We reached the playoffs. We had a winning record and reached the playoffs with our rookie quarterback, who is undoubtedly the future of this franchise.
He is the guy. And I'm going to bring up D-Rock in the house. 10 wins for number 10. We're in exactly to that point, Johnny. We also got Danielle Berry, sports highlights. Daniel Berry, sports highlights.
Daniel Berry.
Yep. With a what's up, folks? Yeah. And we got our fellow MHRT guy here, the Canadian, the guy, the man, the myth, legend, Rich A. We were convincingly. That is what a good team should do against inferior teams. And it's true. We took care of business. There was no question about this game at any point in the game.
And that's the thing. During pregame, I said it. I was like, the Broncos could look at this game as, oh, well, we're going up against their backups, so it's not that big of a deal, and not prepare for it, not put everything. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Broncos left everything on that field today. They put everything out on that field today. All the heart, all the effort, everything. It was all there. And they could have, just viewed this as it's a throwaway game. And we could have won 14-10 or 4, or whatever. They didn't. They were like, no. We're going to go up against their backups and we're going to make them look foolish because that's what we should do.
Yeah. And
they did. Like you said, Jay, they took care of business.
And it's a direct opposite effect of last year, where we played in prime time with beautiful jerseys. You were at the game against New England, who was an absolutely inferior team, and we fell on our face and lost that game, and that got us kicked out of the playoffs. We did the exact opposite today, but this is a different team with different leadership, with different hopes and different aspirations.
A different, wait for it, Jay. You said it all season. A different culture.
Yep, different culture. You're right. It's Russell Wilson, guys. It's Russell Wilson, and it's Bo Nix. That is the switch. That is the difference. Look where Pittsburgh is going into this playoffs. They're embarrassed by their quarterback. Boy, that looks familiar. Like, aren't you guys so happy that we made the move we did?
Shnikes.
Thank God for Bo Nix, man. I'm so happy that Sean Payton
did you watch any of that? Did you watch any of that game with Russ yesterday?
Yeah. It was sad.
Dude,
it was sad.
What kind of boneheaded? I mean, really? Like,
he's a veteran.
And I was like,
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
they were sitting here, talking about like, oh, Russ is back. The Broncos were the problem. No, we saw yesterday, on the Steelers, that Russ is still Russ, and the Broncos were not the problem.
No,
like our culture may have been the problem, but the Broncos weren't the problem when it comes to Russell Wilson. So. At the I don't want to talk about Russ anymore. But I think it's good to move on.
Just a good riddance. It's just a good riddance, man. And I want to throw out your mom, my aunt. Aunt
Don't you be talking about my mama? Oh, my bad. My bad.
Your dad, Uncle Wayne, called it a blowout. And yes, I was texting my dad as well.
It was a blowout.
Man, we've talked about this, man, but this is family ties. This is family roots. We're all Bronco crazy. And it's these instances, pivot moments for our franchise that, like, it's just another, reminder of how big this team's history is to our history. Yes. And
yes, I mean, you and I were born into a super family.
Yeah.
That's what we are. And
it makes everybody feel good. It makes everybody feel good to see good football. And, at least for me, it makes me feel bad to see terrible football. And that's been 9 years. Thank God for the Avalanche and Nuggets that have held me up during this low time. But, man, we're back football-wise.
Yes, we
are.
So
great.
Yes, we are. So, real quick, the Broncos got their dub, Jay. So how about we help our fan base get their own dub by clicking on the link in the bio below, jumping on over to dubby.gg and get yourself the dub with some Dubby. Dubby's absolutely delicious, you guys. It comes in a multitude of amazing flavors. It's got the kick you need to get your day started because every cup of Dubby has 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. However, you don't get the jitters or the crash later because Dubby is formulated without any sugar. It also has no calories. It has no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial colors. It's as natural as it gets, being nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including their patented neurofactor nootropic. Those keep you sharp throughout your day. And the caffeine that's in Dubby is derived directly from the coffee plant. So it is as natural as it comes. You don't get the jitters, you don't get the crash, and it's delicious. I don't know what else you need. It's amazing stuff. I highly recommend. I know Jay and I both swear by it, and I will continue to do so. The way you get yourself the dub, though, you go jump on over to w.gg, pick out what you want, and then go to the checkout and punch in code NRWOB10. NRWOB10 at checkout will get you 10% off your order at checkout. So, guys, go ahead, just like the Broncos did today, and get yourself the dub. A dub that leads to the playoffs. What?
Yeah, man. And let me just say, and D-Rock puts it up here, yes, a miracle in ice next week. Who knows what Buffalo will bring for weather? But, man, if there's going to be a Buffalo blizzard, our team, and I said this early on in the year, our team is set up for this seasonality, for the success of this season. Our defense has the most sacks in franchise history. Better than the 2020 or
what are we at now? I know
defense.
that we reached 60, but I think we got up to what? 63?
I think
today.
So.
Broke the all-time franchise single season record for sacks as a team.
Insane.
Nick Bonito got what, 2 or 3? I mean, let me see here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have the let me get box score up here real quick.
Nick Bonito, 2 sacks. He had 2 sacks on the day, 3 total tackles, 3 of them solo, 2 sacks, 2 of them were tackles for loss. So I mean, go Bonito.
And I know they were showing on broadcast. John Franklin Myers really needed I think 7, and he had 6.5. D-Rock throws that up. Hopefully JFM got his bag because Nick Bonito kind of stole his half sack.
I know.
Came in at the end and helped facilitate that sack, so everyone was giving him crap. But this is a dynamic defense. This is a defense that can beat Josh Allen. I mean, the Buffalo Bills are nothing special. They really aren't. Amari Cooper.
I mean, okay.
Is anyone scared about PS2 versus Amari Cooper? No,
not really. Here's the thing. Josh Allen is a very physical quarterback. He is very difficult to bring down. He's a big guy. He is very hard to bring down. He's got a good arm and he can scramble.
He can.
I mean, we saw that this weekend. He pulled off an amazing run run for touchdown, where he was dead to rights in the pocket. So I'm not going to count them out. I'm not going to sit here and say we got this. I'm not. The Bills are the Bills. They are who they are for a reason. They are a scary team. If I could choose between a first round between the Broncos and the Ravens, or the Broncos and the Chiefs, and the Broncos and the Bills, I would have chosen Ravens or Chiefs long before I would want to face the Bills. Unfortunately, that's not how the cards will fall for us.
Yeah,
but I mean, I will say this: Dave has confidence here. He says the Bills are absolutely beatable.
I think so too.
I mean, let's see. Who didn't they just lose to? I mean, granted, I think they sat a lot of starters too.
Yeah, today they lost to New England. That basically was a troll job by Gerard Mayo.
Gerard Mayo, yeah.
Gerard Mayo, because he got fired right after the game, and they surrendered the number 1 overall draft pick by winning that game.
They did. That's confirmed that he's fired, because I couldn't find the confirmation.
That is confirmed.
All right. Well,
fired,
I mean,
right
he did
after the game.
they had the opportunity to get that number 1 overall draft pick, and he flubbed that.
Said, screw this, I'm at the door anyways, let's go out on a win. He did a Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak did in Denver.
So, I mean,
screw this.
So, yes, the Bills are beatable. And I have said it all season long. I don't think there's a team in the NFL that the Broncos can't beat. I think that we have the potential to beat anyone. Do I think that we will beat everyone? No. But I think we have the potential. And you know what? I'm going to go into the game. I'm going to go into this game against the Bills with realistic expectations of likely we will walk out and that will be the end of our season.
Yeah.
However, maybe just so that it's not as, I think Mundungus said the same thing on The Neighborhood today. He was like, just that way it's not as painful because, because I went into it with realistic expectations. But
absolutely,
believe me, buddy, I am here for it if we pull off that miracle.
Absolutely. And our, our prize for that will be playing in Arrowhead and playing these Chiefs once again. And that'll be a back-to-back basically game for them against us. So,
Yes.
I mean, and that's awesome. That's great to avoid Baltimore, even in the second round. If that happens down the road, fantastic.
KB82 says LFB, let's fucking Bo. Love you, Kenny
dude.
B. D-Rock
Dude,
popping in
bonus,
saying
man.
we'll see Von Miller and KJ Hamler next week.
That we will.
That'll be interesting. That will be
Mike
interesting.
McGlinchey better get his crap together because Vaughn will see the highest volume he has all year. He's a playoff performer. That's why he's paid. So Vaughn still has it. He just doesn't have the longevity he used to.
No, he does not. And we can both be honest when talking about our beloved Von Miller, whose jersey I believe you're wearing right now.
No, it's a DT.
No, oh, it's DT. My bad. Okay,
DT.
sorry. But
Baby.
But in talking about our beloved Von Miller, we will always love him. You are a Bronco for life. We know that. He hasn't dropped off a cliff by any means, but he is not the Von Miller he once was either.
For sure.
He is currently, I think, honestly, Nick Bonito is the stuff of quarterback's nightmares.
Why would you want to play this team? Out of all the teams, I guess, that are wild card teams going in, this team, again, just has the recipe that we have a veteran head coach that knows what he's doing. And that's a huge thing when it comes to playoff game planning. When you have some time to game plan for one game, it's just one game. You're not looking at 2 games out because they're planning more than one game in a week. So like it's all the cards are on the table next week. And I think you were talking about that you hope it's a Saturday game, even though it's a short week. I totally agree. I hope it is a Saturday game as well, because I'd really like to keep this momentum going, and I don't think a short week would necessarily be a bad thing for this team to keep on this high.
I mean, look at us. Who got hurt? Who got hurt today? Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah, but he was back. He was fine. He's back, and after everything, I want look at it this way, Jay, because you're the one that's made this point all season long. This team isn't supposed to be able to do this. This team doesn't even know that they're not supposed to be able to do all of these things. We weren't supposed to. We were supposed to suck. We weren't supposed to get more than 5 wins. We weren't, and they didn't know that, and they didn't care. That we weren't supposed to make the playoffs. We didn't know that. We didn't care. We're not supposed to beat the Bills this next weekend. But maybe we don't know. Maybe our boys just don't know that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. But yeah, either way, we're in the playoffs, Jay. A fantastic performance, honestly, today. And I know we're looking a lot ahead, but this game just it's the largest victory against the Chiefs in our history. I don't care what the details of the game are. Just that fact alone, to me, just makes me feel so good to end this year, this regular season on, in what we have seen thus far. I don't know this for a fact, but this is the healthiest team at the end of a regular season that I can remember, knock on wood. What major injuries have we really had? Singleton. That's it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else that has gone down. So, I mean, if we keep on keeping on with that.
And in his stead, Cody Barton's done a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
So
there's a lot of hallmarks to this game, a lot of positives other than the score. D-Rock coming through with one of those. Court hit his 1,000-yard mark and hit his $500,000 bonus at halftime, but in one half of the game. And it was obvious we were targeting him early. Wanted to get like a cushion on that. Man, that to me shows free agents potentially in the offseason that this is a coaching staff that will take care of its players. Come on here, get an incentive-laced contract because we're going to make sure we take care of it at the end of the year. That's a huge plus for players as they look onto a prospective team. That's huge.
It is, absolutely. There's There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And even though this game was, this particular game was not necessarily, what you expect, because we were playing against backups. We are, the fact that this team is now a playoff team, and the fact that the team still played with all their hearts, minds, and bodies in this game will show other free agent players coming into this season. This is now a playoff team. This is a place I want to go, because now they have a rookie quarterback that they are now building their franchise around. And if this is the floor, the ceiling is high. So I want to go there so that I can facilitate and be part of possibly pushing towards a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
And so we may not be like the destination team just yet, where everybody wants to come to us. We're not, well, for all intents and purposes, we're not Kansas City, but it does make us more appealing to some of these guys, where when their agents are like, well, there's some interest in Denver, where they're not like, where they might be more apt to be like, yeah, maybe Denver, as opposed to, no, I don't want to go there.
And I just, there are so many positives to a blowout in a situation like this. And it also kind of shows your team, from a coaching standpoint, that like, we're not gonna get up 21 and stop. Like we kept on going today. We finally like put our foot on the throat of a team and said,
like I've been saying all season, foot on the throat and do not let off.
Yep. But it's the first time, at least under Sean Payton, I remember, that we finally, like, I guess in New Orleans, he was going hot. He was trying to embarrass that team. So I guess, there's that. But like in a meaningful game, today was the first one. And you want to play for a coach like that. That's why Dan Campbell is so successful in Detroit and has such buy-in, because he is that guy. He's biting kneecaps. Players want to play for coaches like that.
And, Dan Campbell comes from Sean Payton's coaching tree.
Yeah.
So
yes, he does.
I mean, but, it did feel good to see that. It did feel good. Like even during the neighborhood, Bronco Bill was calling to possibly start sitting some of our starters at halftime or after halftime. And I was like, no,
24.
You wait till midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like
24 points is not enough to be doing stuff like that.
No. But and I'm glad that we didn't pull Bo until about 6 minutes left in the game. Jared, Stiddy got to go out there and get some reps. That's good. And he didn't do a bad job either. We kept on moving the ball.
Yep.
So I mean that was nice. Dave popping in saying Bo could still win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Institutional racism is still in play.
I just pulled this up, Johnny. Second all time in touchdowns overall for a rookie quarterback. Justin Herbert, number one in his rookie year in 2020 with 31, followed by Bo Nix with 29 this year. Jaden Daniels ends his campaign with 25. So we're talking 4 more than Jaden Daniels overall. And we count the receiving touchdown as well with Bo Nix. But that's incredible. Second all time. All time.
Yeah, that's bananas, dude. And and so he still is. It should, if he's not, he should still be in the talks for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He absolutely should.
Give me some more water. Yeah, he absolutely should be in those talks. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know. I would love for it to happen. But, even if he doesn't, dude.
Just I mean, it's all good. I was going to say, just like Pro Bowl votes, and there was a lot of, scuffle around that of who should have been a Pro Bowler, who shouldn't. Honestly, who cares about those individual awards at the end of the day? They're mostly popularity contests. What we're doing on the field is far more important than I think some of the personal accolades that are out there that we could have possibly gotten. And I think Bo could care less about something like that. He's got a great personality that is a team first guy. That's why he's such a great leader for this team. Not everyone is like that.
King Joshua 31 popping in saying, "Yo, what the hell, bro? You guys beat him 50-0. What a legend we are." Well, I wish that it was 50. It wasn't. It was 38-0. But and that's okay. And the truth of the matter is we the Broncos starters played against the Chiefs backup. I think that the Chiefs would have absolutely run away with it and won this game if their starters were in the game? No, I don't. I believe it would have been close, and we would have seen, a win could have gone to either side. However, because that's what happened the last time we played them. However, what we did to them did to their backup players today is exactly what you'd expect a team whose starters, who are a playoff caliber team, whose starters are playing against another team's backups to do. So
Yeah.
it was regardless of how it happened, it still feels good to get this win and get it in the way we did.
100%. And again, you can only play against the competition that's presented in front of you. And a couple of things also that I want to mention. Bo with 18 straight completions in that first half.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what defense it is.
Yeah.
That is,
he did not throw,
running an offense on rhythm.
Yes.
And on time. And
he didn't throw his first incomplete until there were 6 seconds left in the first half.
Isn't
That's
that
insanity?
Nuts? It is.
That's bananas. Yeah. Absolutely bananas.
I thought you said go, Bo, go.
I'm here for it.
Another fun Bo stat that they showed. The highest completion percentage in Denver Broncos history, beating Peyton Manning. I believe it was the 13 campaign that Manning put that up.
It was.
Not of rookies, of all time franchise record of a single game. That's insane for a rookie to be putting up.
Especially when you have 2 Super Bowl winning, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in that history. To be that right now as a rookie is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's look at his total stats for the day, Jay. 26 for 29. That means I already said it. He threw his first incompletion of the game with 6 seconds left in the first half. And in the second half, only threw 2 incomplete passes. One was a batted ball, and the other, I'll say this, was thrown too high. It was an overthrown pass. But beyond that, 3 incompletions in the entire game, 26 for 29, which, by the way, that means I would love to point out, Jay, we've been screaming for the run game to take some pressure off the passing game. They did it today. All right. Regardless of who we were playing against, they did it because we'd been seeing the numbers over the past few games where Bo was throwing 42, 43 times per game. 29, I can live with that number.
Absolutely.
I can live with that number. He threw 26 for 29 for 321 yards, averaging 11.1 yards per reception for 4 touchdowns and goose egg, 0 interceptions.
Yep.
Bo's the guy, man.
He is a perfect pairing. I heard a bunch of stuff. I don't remember if it was on the broadcast or it was pregame of the relationship of Mahomes and Andy Reid, that they both would have been successful apart, but those two, personalities coming together to form this bond is why the Kansas City Chiefs are who they are. And Bo Nix and Sean Payton together, I think, are so similar to that. Bo Nix is going to start breaking some of these Peyton Manning records, some of these John Elway records.
Yes.
And Bo Nix is awesome, and I think Bo Nix would have been successful in the NFL no matter where he went.
We've seen other symbiotic, coach to quarterback relationships like that. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady both would have been good by them on their own. We've seen that, but
I agree.
But when they were together, they were a dynasty. We see Patrick Mahomes and, like you said, Andy Reid together. They're a dynasty. Mike Shanahan and John Elway. John Elway was successful. Even when Dan Reeves was here, he was a successful quarterback. However, You paired him up with Mike Shanahan, we were a dynasty.
Yeah, it
You
blew
know,
up.
and you know, and so you see it now, the potential. It's not there yet. We're not a dynasty now. We're young, but we are now seeing the birth of a how do they say it in the movies? I see this turning, you know, growing into a beautiful friendship kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, Bo Nix and Sean Payton together are going to be a force to be reckoned with. We see it right now, not just in I'm sorry, I'm kind of, you know, backtracking just a little, but you know, not aside, you know, currently in the NFL right now, Dan Campbell with Jared Goff. Jared Goff was he was all right with the Rams. Dan Campbell was struggling in all of his stops before he was you know, the Lions head coach. You pair him and Jared Goff together, boom goes the dynamite. It's when a coach and a quarterback can meet on those kind of wavelengths, it's great. It's perfect.
And that is precisely why you don't hire a head coach that is defensive based. That's why you hire a head coach that is going to be the counterpart to the most important position on a football team. And I'm that's great. We love Fangio and like even honestly Fangio
he was all right.
Like, but we've got a guy that finally ties to like, hey, this is my quarterback. This is my guy. And I'm not leaving his side. And like you said, we're not a dynasty yet, and we're not going to get to that point here for a while. But I mean, we're projecting and forecasting super far up, and like these memories today that are such a great building block of that foundation. Of remember on our first campaign together where we went to the playoffs when we were supposed to win 5 games, just nuts, man. Like 5 years, 10 years from now, I think we're going to look back on this season and be like, wow, like that was nothing. Like we just coming out of the gates.
I'm not saying he will be, but I am saying this. I think Bo Nix has the potential to become a household name.
Absolutely.
You know, Patrick Mahomes is a household name. Lamar Jackson is a household name. You know, Josh Allen is a household name. I think Bo Nix has the potential to do the same.
I hate this comparison, but I think the longer we look at this, the more true it's becoming. Drew Brees was a household name, but like now you kind of see, at least my experience, because I didn't really pay that much attention to the details of Sean Payton coaching in New Orleans because, you know, who cares, NFC? But like Drew Brees probably benefited a whole bunch from Sean Payton.
Look at what he was doing
because of him.
Look at who he was before he was with Sean Payton. He was on the Chargers and he was drowning. They were ready to just let him, like, to, you know, he was looking at possibly his last, last season even playing in the NFL, let alone starting. Mm-hmm. He was struggling. And the Chargers are like, all right, you know what? Bye. You're gone.
Injured goods.
And Sean Payton goes, no. Come over here. Come to New Orleans. Come play for me. We'll get it right. And boy, did they.
And that's why it's his guy, man. They kept saying it through the broadcast. You know, this Sean Payton just keeps shouting the praises of Bo Nix every single week. It's another compliment piling on of like, man, it's just this guy's different. He's just so much more mature than what he should be.
Yeah, he is. And here's the thing I'll say about that. There is something to be said about keeping your quarterback humble. You know, not overdoing it, but there's also a such thing as, you know, in the interest of not overdoing it, underdoing it too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you see a lot of these coaches, not necessarily right now. I can't think of a lot, at least successful teams right now, whose coaches are downplaying how well their quarterback is doing. But we have seen it in the past where coaches are like, you know, it was a team effort. It was a team effort. No, Sean Payton is doing the right amount to me of praise versus humility but when it comes to Bo Nix. And it will only continue to build Bo's confidence because that's what you need. Like, serving in the Army, I had a lot of leadership over my 8 years in different places. And some of them were great. Some of them were very toxic. And some of that, but I always personally found, the military mind is to just constantly scream and berate and degrade, people. You see it in the movies all the time. What are you doing? Just screaming in faces and all this. I always found I performed so much better when I got positive reinforcement than the negative. And right now, and while Sean Payton is not always, he's a very blunt individual, and he's also the kind of guy that speaks his mind, whether you want to hear it or not. One thing we can say for him is that he knows when to hold the carrot and he knows when to hold the stick. And I just want to keep seeing that.
I just saw just a quick quote from post-game press conference from Sean Payton, labeling his team young and hungry. So don't think for a second that the narrative he's not spinning in that locker room is why not us? They've counted us out this entire year. We're not supposed to be here. So incredible, man.
Dave says, "Good night, Broncos. I'm out." Good night, Dave. We make sure you hit us up to get your
Peace out,
to get your t-shirt from the merch store for winning the fantasy league. So
yes, I'll get your info.
Yeah, for sure. But we're seeing such a culture change in general, though, Jay. But I agree with you that he better, if he's saying that on the podium post game, he better be spinning that yarn, whether it's a yarn or a truth. He better be spinning that in the locker room for the team to hear.
Oh yeah,
throwing a Sean Payton party in the locker room right now. So,
man, it's just insane. I can't believe we're here, man, because at the beginning of the year, I didn't think we'd be here. I really didn't. So,
and, I mean, we did predict 11 wins.
Yeah.
We were off by one. And it honestly should have been the Kansas City game, the first one. That should have been our 11th right there. That was our game.
That was crap, man.
So actually, if you really think about it, if you really do think about it, we did predict this. At least on this on this network, we did.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I want to throw out a huge congratulations to our network. We haven't said it on the air yet. Mike Carmelini, on the top 10 guy in Denver media, who sits there and the ranker for Denver media has officially gave us. Now I want to point this out. Last year he gave us top 13. I believe we were 13 in amateur Broncos podcasts. He gave us the top 13 in amateur Broncos podcasts. But this year he ranked Orange and Blue Network number 16 out of all Broncos podcasts and media in the world. So we're up, I just want to give a huge shout out to all the great hosts we have on this network. Thank you for being part of it with us. Thank you for working with me and letting me help build, helping us to build what we have built. I'm very proud of what we're doing. And we have gotten the some amazing recognition there. So huge shout out to Orange and Blue Network for making Mike Carmelini's top 16 or top 20, making it at 16, coming in at 16 for all Broncos media in the world. That's a pretty huge accomplishment. So I just wanted to say it because we had a chance to yet, Jay.
No, it is a big deal, man. And I never, when I first got into this, I was very, fanboy. Like, it's just such a big deal to be able to analyze Denver sports in general, because I'm just so passionate about it. And I've built such a lifelong commitment to following our teams and understanding what makes them tick and
Mhm.
why they're successful and why they're not. I'm bought in, as you are, as our family is, and it's great to have a platform to be able to talk shop to those interests. So,
And
it's
could
nice
you
that people
imagine?
appreciate it.
I wish he was around to see it, but could you imagine if our grandfather was able to bear witness to what we have created and accomplished here?
Oh yeah, man, pretty wild stuff. I think he would be floored that podcasting even exists, and let alone that we are on it, but that we would be accessible to be on his television. Super wild, man.
But to be getting
Very wild.
that kind of recognition with among
Yeah,
names of people that have literally, I mean, our name is on this list now with the names of people who have worked and are working for the Denver Broncos.
yeah,
I
man.
mean, that's a pretty amazing accomplishment, and kudos to you, Jay. Kudos to all of our hosts on the Orange and Blue Network. We couldn't have done it without you, and we are so thankful.
Very much so.
So, one thing I had not touched on, I want to real quick, and then we'll get back to Broncos. Everyone may notice that that if you tried to tune in on Facebook, we are no longer live streaming on Facebook at all. Facebook did some dumb stuff, and it's made it very difficult for us to do anything with it. So we have decided to push all of our programming exclusively to YouTube. It's where we're going to be. We will still have the YouTube page or the Facebook page up, our Twitter page up to interact. But as far as tuning in and watching the shows, YouTube. That's where you should go. And if you have not already, please, because I hadn't done this yet either, Jay, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and comment over on Orange and Blue Network, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Check out the audio version of our podcast on all your favorite platforms. We're also partnered up with and simulcasting on MHRT Network. So please make sure you jump on over, like, subscribe, share, comment on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. Hell, MHRT's even on Instagram. So make sure that you guys do that. We would really, really appreciate it. So back to the Broncos, Jay.
Yeah, man. Talked a lot about, future tense, what this team looks like. I know you and Isaiah pregame spoke a lot about, free agency and draft and just kind of where kind of the needs of this team are going to be. But I just kind of wanted to get back.
I tried to steer us away from that pregame because I was like, we should be focusing on the game. But
we have an entire off season for that, and we will have a lot of discussion because it's nice that we don't have to buy everything. Like, we have some of our lists, our grocery lists already bought, so we can be a little choosy. We can actually not come hungry to the grocery store.
Let's go get some name brand shit, Jay.
Absolutely, we've got a budget, and we don't have bare cupboards at home. Finally, thank God.
Right.
But with that, I wanna throw some balls out, some high accolades for this high producing game. So without further ado, let's go with some ball segments. Our famed and loved Who's Got the Balls segment that we love to give out some balls post-game, even in some losses, maybe a little fewer in those instances. But on this one, Johnny, I mean, you've got unlimited balls to throw out.
I mean, there's so many balls to throw. Real quick, Avatar popping in saying, "Sup, Jay and Johnny, how's it going tonight?" Well, I'm pretty sure you're feeling the same as we are right now, Avatar. The Broncos are going to the playoffs. So pretty damn good, my friend. So all right, Jay. Oh my God! You always let me. You're the host. You always let me give the first game ball. Would you like to give? It's the final game of the regular season, and the Broncos are going to the playoffs. Would you like to give the first game ball tonight?
Sure. And I will go kind of out of left center here to a certain extent.
Okay.
let's see here. My first one, I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. The guy has heard the doubts coming into this season, saying about him, is he actually a number one? He'd be like a number 3 on some teams. Only to have his best season, I believe, of his career in a catch standpoint. I think there's been seasons he's had more yards, but another huge showing, 5 catches, 98 yards with a tutty, only targeted 7 times, but it was at the beginning of the game when the game was, still in motion. He got the $500,000 bonus before halftime. He is our number 1 man, and he plays like a number 1. He's a leader on this team. He obviously has connection with Bo Nix. Bo loves him. Shout out to Court, man. He still got it. He does.
He does. Okay, I love that. I love that game ball. Okay. I'm gonna say one thing, and then I'll let it go. Do I still think that Court is the best that we could have? No, I don't.
No.
Sorry. But he has risen to the occasion, and he has been getting it done. He has been getting it done. He deserves, he deserves to be here, and I hope he's here for a good long while. But do I think we can still upgrade? I do. I absolutely do. That being said, I love that pick or that game ball. Court put, not only did he eclipse 1,000 yards tonight, but he also got his bonus, which which was well earned. But on top of all that, he just was reliable. He was where he needed to be when both threw the ball. He did have two incompletes to his name. Yeah. One was thrown too high for him, which was not. That's on Bo. That's not on him. The other one was bad. Was a batted away pass, well covered. So I mean, he did a great job. And he, 98 yards. Gosh, I wish he could have just gotten those 2 more and gotten a 100-yard game. But he definitely deserves it. He was the leading receiver tonight, and he definitely deserves that game ball. I agree with you fully and wholeheartedly. So excuse me. I'll stick to offense for my first one, but I'm not going to go Bo just yet.
That's the easy one.
No, I'm not going to go Bo just yet. He'll get his, I promise you. But I'm actually going to go Jaleel McLaughlin. Now he didn't have it wasn't terribly showy. He did only average 2.4 yards per carry. But besides Bo, who I know you hate this, Jay, was the leading rusher on this team today. He did carry 16 for 39 yards, and him and Audric Estime together with a little bit of help from Javonte Williams and one run by Michael Burton kept the run game going in this game. So regardless of the fact that he didn't have any flashy numbers, and he didn't, and it was actually Audric Estime that got the rushing touchdown for the day, I'm giving it to Jaleel McLaughlin for just continuing to take that ball 16 times and at least keep our run game rolling so that we could open up our pass game the way we did. So, I feel like a running back somebody in that running back room deserves the game ball. I guess you could maybe split that, give it to Audric and Jaleel because, Audric had 12. You know what?
Audric played pretty well.
He did, but you know what? I'm actually going to split it now. No, I'm not even going to split it. Sorry, Jaleel, and I'm sorry everybody for doing this. Take backsies. I'm actually taking the ball back, and I'm handing it over to another running back. It's got to be Audric Estime. I'm sorry, I missed the stats right here just a minute ago when I started. 12 carries for 34 yards. Granted, he only averaged 2.8, but that's still more than Jaleel was averaging. Mm-hmm. And he had a touchdown. And I was able to see from him in that when he has excellent, his excellent vision. And that even though he may not be getting those huge chunk numbers yet, I think that, given another offseason, where maybe he's not hurt almost the entire offseason, we could see something real special out of him.
Yeah. I liked Audric Estime a lot in this game. I liked him a lot. And I'm glad that we are finally in the camp of the Thunder and Lightning is McLaughlin and Estime. And although Javonte had an all right game, like for Javonte standards, I mean, he had 5 for 28, 5.6 average. He certainly didn't have a terrible game, but that's the share that I would like to see in the ratio of like who's getting what. That's the correct pecking order, Sean Payton. Stick to that. But I think it's also interesting to note, Bo Nix still led our team with 47 rushing yards.
I know, right? On 7
still
carries.
Bonkers. Still
on
bonkers
7
to
carries with a long run of 27 yards.
But to your point, though, the running back room allowed our offense to be dynamic in the boot and in play action. And at the end of the day, that's what this offense is all based on, is motion and being able to, create some separation for our wide receivers. So that makes a big difference. That definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah. And that's why I'm giving one. I felt like one was deserved to somebody in that running back.
Yep.
I'm actually going to go with Audric Estime on that one, and I stick to it. Real quick before you go to your next. Big E Bronco popping in the house. How's everybody not going tonight? How's everybody doing tonight? I'm going to go with that. Doing well, Big E. We're in the playoffs, baby. I'm feeling good. Shy Vargas also popping in. How about them Broncos? Absolutely, dude. I mean, I'm feeling so good about it, Shy.
Yeah, man. Feeling mile high because, I mean, there are just so many things to be thankful for in this game. It had a little bit of everything. It wasn't just a one aspect kind of game. There were a lot of facets to this game. But for my next ball, I'll go to the true and tested aspect of our team, which is the pass rush. Franchise record in sacks. We knew Jonathan Cooper was really good going into this year. We knew that he would be, I thought Baron Browning would pop off in a contract season. It would be Browning and it would be Cooper on either side. And that was going to be the tandem we were going to roll with. Not so fast, because this guy came onto the scene. His name is Nick Benito with 2 sacks today. And that puts him up to 11 and a half sacks, tied for 5th in the NFL in sacks. And I believe Cooper also hit that double-digit mark as well at 10. So I think it's the first time that we have had 2 double-digit sack artists since like 2018 or something like that. 17 or 18?
No. Since Von Miller and
DeMarcus Ware?
Who was it? Yeah, I believe so.
I mean,
I believe that's the last time we had 2 we had 2 go double digits in a single season.
Nick Benito completely just blew me away this season. I think blew everyone away.
Yes.
No one expected him to come onto the scene like this. But he's a bona fide Pro Bowler.
He's going to the Pro Bowl.
Bona fide. Earned every single accolade that he got for that. And another dominating performance today. 2 sacks and played extremely well. So he's getting my next game ball.
Absolutely. And, and as always, I love the stories behind certain players. Like, when you look at Jonathan Cooper, he was a highly rated edge rusher coming into his draft, but dropped because he had some cardio issues. My son is trying to show everybody he's enjoying cucumbers, which is not something I enjoy. So you go enjoy those over there because I can't even stand the smell of them.
Great.
No, cucumbers are disgusting.
Water?
They're only great when they've been pickled. No.
Oh, no.
No, thank you.
Cucumbers in some water
when I go to the
overnight. Oh my gosh.
No. I'll take lemon or lime way over cucumbers in my water. Thank you. However, and when I go to the spa, you better put pickles over my eyes, okay?
Brody.
No, the only way a cucumber is good is if it's pickled, in my opinion. But all right, so but no, you look at Jonathan Cooper. You look at his his story, man. He dropped in his draft because of cardiac issues. And, we didn't even then when we took him, we didn't know if he would actually be what he could be because of that. But we took the risk. We took the chance. And now we are getting those we're seeing those dividends paid. And that's huge. It's such a cool story. And for both of them, were you just giving it to the edge? Edge
no, I
guys,
gave it to Benito specifically with 2 today.
Yeah.
And he's tied for 5th in the NFL now for sacks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. And I've loved every single second of it, dude. Every single second.
I would never, again, I would never have guessed. I would never have guessed this is the pass rushing tandem or pass rushing crew that would result in the most sacks in franchise history. Would never have guessed that ever going into this season.
I would not have either. I would not have either. And I'm really impressed with what they've been able to put together. I've been really impressed with what they've been able to put together, what he's been able to put together, what Vance Joseph has been able to do with our pass rush, both on the edge and from the interior.
Yeah,
it's just a chef's kiss. So well done,
it really is.
So now Shy Vargas popping back in again, saying Bills are going to be tough to beat. Yes, they are, but we did cover this earlier in the show. Not impossible. So
their defense is middle of the road. Not afraid.
Yeah. Agreed. So very here for it. So let's I guess it's my turn then, huh?
It is.
What
you got?
How about Mr. You know what? It's hard to really go on defense this one because our defense did such a good job of kind of just shutting down any possibilities of them even moving the ball this game. There really wasn't a whole lot, excuse me, statistics wise to go off of outside of the pass rush.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess I could go and throw one to Riley Moss and Pat Surtain for coverage downfield, but instead, I'm just gonna kind of go off of defense on this one. This was an offensive game. We won this game offensively, so I'm actually going to go special teams, Jay, and it's going to be a guy I've given quite a few to over the last year. But again, I feel like he deserves it, and that's Will Lutz. I mean, looking at him right here, it was only one field goal on the day, but it was right down the middle right where it needed to be. And he was responsible for 8 of our points because he made every single one of his extra points. He is Mr. Dependable. And that's what you want from a kicker.
I was going to say, Shy comes up and says, do you guys think we could beat the Bills? Mark my words, Johnny, if we are going to beat the Bills, Will Lutz will get a game ball next week from you. I know that's a favorite of yours.
Oh, yeah.
That's the recipe to win in the playoffs, is a great kicking game. And we have been blessed to have Will Lutz. You're totally right.
So I mean, again, it's not flashy, but it's someone who I deserve. I believe as long as he continues to be consistent, he is someone he's dependable. Like I would love to be able to have a long ball kicker like Justin Tucker, who can nail those like 66-yarders or whatever. That'd be awesome, but he also misses from like 25 and 30 yards more often than you want.
He's also a head case. He's an a-hole.
He also is crazy. And we saw it today. Harrison Butker, or I call him Butturd during the neighborhood. He missed his first time ever in Denver. Very dependable kicker, but he missed on a 51-yarder in Denver. That's the easiest place in the world to make a 50
it's his first missed kick in Denver in his whole career.
Yeah. So, Will Lutz has been dependable. And I'm very, very thankful to have him on this team, and I think he deserves his recognition.
Yeah.
Shy asking, before you go to your next, Shy asking us again, do you think we can beat the Bills? I've said this, if it's okay, Jay, can I go?
Go.
I've said this for over half the season. I don't think that there is a team in the NFL that we can't beat. I think we can beat anyone. Do I think that we will go into Buffalo this next weekend? Because it is on the road and it will be in Buffalo, and Bills Mafia is no joke, by the way.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in the Bills Mafia, super fans who I rub elbows with, and I'm going to tell you right now, Bills Mafia is no joke. Their fan base is crazy. We will be on the road in Buffalo. Who knows what the weather could be doing, but I do believe that that this team has what it takes to get it done. Do I think that they will? Probably not. If I'm being honest, we'll probably walk out. I'm going in. I said it earlier in the show. I'm going into this game with my expectations logical. I'm going with logical expectations that we will likely walk out with a loss. However, that's not me saying that we can't win. I will be absolutely optimistic and hopeful that we can get it done, and I think that we have the potential to do so. Looks like we lost Jay for a second there. We'll get him back here in a moment. So, yes, to answer your question, Shy, I think that we can beat the Bills. Do I think that we will? I don't know, and I'm probably not. But I think that we can. So, there's the answer to your question. Jay, who is are we going 3 again today?
Yeah.
3 each?
Yeah.
All right. Who's your third and final?
All right. My third and final is going to be Marvin Mims. Yet another outing where when we put the meat of, our playbook at the defense in the first quarter and in the first half specifically, Marvin Mims was highlighted. He had the number 2 amount of targets on our roster with 5. Had 2 tutties. But man, he looks to be a player that can elevate himself. Again, another person that we didn't expect at the beginning of this year. He couldn't even hardly get on the field. And
he's the Joker, Jay.
Look where he is now, man. Like, incredible ascension within one season. To the point in which is he in the plans for the future legitimately as a number 2? A rookie's going to come in next year, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a day 1 starter as a rookie. So Marvin Mims could absolutely have another campaign next year where he is the guy. So he continues to show out, man. Incredible game from him.
He's fast. And he had, I would like to point out, on top of the fact that you said he had 5 receptions and 2 tutties, he was, of those 5 receptions, he was targeted 5 times. So he did not, so he caught every pass put his way. And, and he struggled early on figuring out what kind of player he was going to be. He kind of seemed like he was just going to be a gadget player, which, he's showing now, I'm not just a gadget, guys. I'm here. It was just a matter of figuring out how, the coaching staff, for him, for Bo, figuring out how to meld his skill set into this offense, and they've done a grand job of it. They figured it out.
Yeah. No, so, it's a big deal that Sean Payton was humble enough in the beginning of the season to recognize he wasn't utilizing him correctly and to change. And that I think Marvin Mims is a perfect example of why Sean Payton is a Hall of Fame coach and will be a Hall of Fame coach. Because he is not, I always labeled him as just a very prickly, arrogant play caller that just, it's my way or the highway.
And but he is.
I've seen some things that counter that though. And that makes me happy that he is flexible to his personnel. And the greatest coaches on earth are always flexible to the tools that they are given, not just
and totally redeem yourself.
So Marvin Mims is a great story for that.
Yes, and that's an excellent point you make, Jay, because he is prickly, and he remains so, especially with media. He does not like talking to the media.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, he tried to do it one way for a while with Marv, and it wasn't. So the fact that he did step back, just like you said, and reevaluate and go, okay, maybe I can try him this way, and when it's working, it does show that he's not so set in his ways that he's unable to recognize where changes can be made.
Yep.
He may still be a stubborn dude when it comes to not bending on certain things, but we can see that there's a side of him that that he can admit when he's wrong, and that is something we desperately wanted to see.
Growth.
Growth, so much growth. Okay, so I guess that Shy asking us now, who is the rookie of the year? Well, before this game, I would have said Jalen Daniels. I did say Jalen Daniels. After this game, I think it's going to come up for a close between Jalen and Bo. Ultimately, I think it'll still be Jalen because East Coast
biased.
darling, and let's just be honest, the media hates the Broncos. Always has, always will.
And I mean, if we really take our Bronco glasses off, as a rookie, he led the Redskins to a 12-win season. That's nuts.
The Commanders, Jay. The Commanders.
Whatever.
You're going to get us canceled.
But that's insane because that team has been hot garbage for a long time. So
yeah, but then again, so have the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Two are very deserving.
No, ultimately, both are very deserving, and honestly, because of one, the East Coast bias, and two, probably the fact that the Commanders were able to clinch their playoffs earlier than the Broncos. Likely, it'll be Jalen.
12 versus 10 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll look at the win record over stat lines, unfortunately. So I hate to say that, but I can still be hopeful that it'll be Bo because he is still in the conversation.
I think it's. I guess let me say this: I think it's more likely for the Broncos to win a playoff game than the Commanders. I would say that because I think the second half of the season, the Commanders have not been the same team. We've talked about this a lot.
No, they have not.
Kingsbury.
Well, it's the Cliff Kingsbury, whatever you would call it. It's quantifiable. It happens on every Cliff Kingsbury called team. So
second half always sucks. So they'll be a one and done, but great hope for them for the future.
Yep, for sure. Okay, last game ball. And this one's just the obvious one. I saved it for last. Bo Nix. Bo freaking Nix. I mean, dude, come on. Bo Nix, 26 for 29 for 329 yards, averaging 11.1 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, real quick, before I'll get back to Bo in just a second. I just want to point out, Jay, how many positive zeros there are on this game. Positive for different reasons, but positive. 0 fumbles for the Broncos, 0 turnovers, 0 interceptions. Right? 0 punt returns. Or now granted he had to waive them all. He waived a lot off on unfair catches. But 0 kick returns because they only kicked off to us once in the entire game because we didn't let them score a single point. Lots of zeros that just happen to be positive. I love it. Now, back to Bo, though.
The rappers say that those zeros are cash money.
Right? Cha-ching! Okay. So 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 26 for 29 passing. What was it? Let me see if I can find his passer rating real quick on this one.
I got you.
For a completion, for a quarterback rating of 152.4 and a completion percentage of 89.7. I haven't seen a quarterback with any quarterback this season with that high that I can think of.
It's a franchise record. Beating Peyton Manning.
But I'm looking at this season, at least what I have looked at, I cannot remember anybody above 85.
Yeah.
Even Pat Mahomes. So
not with the minimum threshold. I want to say it's like a minimum of 15 passes attempts or something like that.
Yeah, something like
15.
that. So for whatever it's worth, Bo Nix showed up. He continued to show us. Even in a game when I know that we're gonna win it, I'm gonna put everything I have into this game. I'm gonna put everything I have into this team, and I'm gonna put up 4 touchdowns, 89% completion rate percentage and 321 yards. Amazing. Shy asks us here, are the Bengals in the playoffs? No, sir. Our win dashes the hopes of the Bengals.
Poor Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Historic seasons ending in nothing. Brutal, man.
We in a way, we got our revenge on the Bengals for their beating us in overtime last week. And the
Dolphins lost, so they would have been in. Like, they were set up.
Yeah, that's the thing. With the Dolphins lost to the Jets, and if we had lost, they would have won. They would have been in. Our win dashes their hopes. And so, yeah, bye-bye Bengals. So
crazy.
There you go. Bo Nix. He absolutely deserves a game ball.
Yeah. I mean, man, he deserves everything. He deserves the franchise. He deserves a massive contract when he's up here. But we've got some time now to develop a team around him while we're still under that rookie contract. So, and it's such an exciting future for this team. The
future is bright.
It is. This year honestly couldn't have gone any better. It really couldn't have. No injuries. We know who our quarterback is. No. We got some wins along the way. We're going to the playoffs, breaking that streak. We beat the Raiders finally. I know that was another monkey on our back going into this season that we hadn't beat them for so many times. We did last year versus Kansas City, finally being done with that streak. But like, all the streaks are over. All the dragons have been slayed. We now can, from this point on, only start breaking positive records. And that's such a great position to be in.
It is. And it's one that, and we did not expect it. This was a rebuild year, guys. If we did this during a rebuild year, what does next year look like? What does the season after that look like?
Yep.
Jay, I have one last question I want to ask you. And it's one that was posed during the neighborhood by Bill to Mundungus. But I want to ask you here on our show. Over the next 7 seasons, how many Super Bowl, I'll just go with appearances, do you see out of this Broncos team? 7 seasons.
I would say 2.
That's the same number that Mundungus gave on the neighborhood. I said 3. I'm being maybe a little overly optimistic, but I say 3. You say 2, but it's definitely more than 1.
Yeah, I mean, look who our competition is. I mean, Baltimore, I think, isn't going anywhere. But
Kansas City's not going anywhere either.
The Chiefs are trending down, though.
Yes, but I think it's going to become a year. This is going to be exciting. I think the AFC West is going to be very exciting because I think it's going to be a shooting match, at least between the Broncos and the Chiefs. And then, of course, you've got to consider the Chargers and who they are now. They're
a different team. We talk about culture. They have a completely different culture now.
Yeah, with Harbaugh at the helm. The AFC West is going to be an absolute shootout for the next 5 seasons at least.
You're right.
So
not wrong.
Very exciting.
It is. It's exciting times to be a Bronco fan, man. Like, it's only up from here, and it ain't a bad spot right now where we are. So, incredibly excited, and incredibly excited to have another week where we get to analyze a game, have pregame, have postgame. This is the Buck Your Feelings postgame, and we're going to be back next week. And with another celebration song, Johnny, I'm calling it now, man. We're not done. We're not done with these good times.
Do it. Do it.
So,
do it.
No, I said we were going to win 20 plus points today, and I'm telling you, man, we're going to win next week. Mark my words. I have great feelings about this team and where they are. How could you not after today?
Wow. Jay, say it again. Say that one more. I want to make sure in my ears this time.
I have absolute positive vibes that we are coming away with a victory next week. It might be sloppy, but we're going to win next week in Buffalo. I just know we will. It's happening.
You heard it here first, folks. Hot take, but and regardless of that, whether or not we do or not, because like I said, I'm going into it, logically knowing that there's a great possibility we walk out with an L, but just happy that we're there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but regardless of that, Jay, I think this night warrants one more of these.
Big stuff. No one is going to get us down on our horse. Not even our arch nemesis, Boo Broncos, who is rearing his ugly head back into the chat here. Boo Broncos, you will not get me down off of the high vibes that we got here.
In all fairness, I walked across Boo Broncos Bridge earlier. Forgot to pay the toll. So
that's why he's coming back.
They're just
around,
showing
Johnny.
up to try to. Yeah, they're just trying to come back and get the dime that I owe them, but you're still not getting it.
No.
Shy agrees with you, Jay. We walking out with the dub.
Man, I'm feeling it, and it's only going to get better throughout the week. I agree. Why?
Absolutely.
Why not? Why not us? Why not us?
Hey, like I said earlier in the show, my last thought before we get out of here, but before Jay closes us out, I said it earlier in the show. All season long, we weren't supposed to be a team that could eclipse 5. We weren't supposed, our guys were like, we weren't supposed to be able to make the playoffs. Our guys were like, we aren't. Now we're going to go into Buffalo next week. You're not supposed to be able to beat Buffalo. We aren't. So we've done it all season long. We've proven the naysayers wrong. Let's go do it again this weekend.
I totally agree. And I think it's going to take everyone next week. I think Sean Payton is a dynamic play installer, and we're gonna create some buzz next week with some of our play schemes. Get ready. This is just my little thing here. Get ready for a Vele appearance next week. That's going to shake some people. Because I don't think anyone has him on his radar. We did the juggle, the tip ball touchdown.
Oh my God! I cannot believe we didn't talk about the juggle.
It was amazing. I've never seen a play like that.
You know what? Even though we kind of ended the game ball segment, I feel like we got to give a 7th to Devon Bailey for heads up play.
Yeah,
because a lot of guys would have seen that ball come, like that ball would have been bobbled up twice, and would have been like, "Oh no!" And he was like, "No, I see it. It's mine." What heads up play by that dude?
I thought Troutman touched it. I thought Troutman tipped it while he was out of bounds and it was over.
No,
but fantastic.
No, when they showed that sideline angle, you could clearly see he had about 3 inches of separation on that ball.
Yep.
So that was something. And Smiley Broncos says, "Let's go Broncos! Destroyed KC." Absolutely. It feels good to get to see a big red L over the Kansas City Chiefs logo right now, regardless of who played in that game.
I hate Chiefs more than any other team. And we didn't have to talk about the refs today, man. It's a Chief game that the refs weren't brought up. It's a Christmas miracle. So I'm so pumped about this upcoming week with positive vibes. 38-0, folks. Largest victory against a rival in grand history here. So with that, I've bucked my feelings. They've been all positive feelings. There were no negative feelings here, honestly.
But they're still bucked.
They are still bucked. But we're going to buck them into next week because we are not going to drop the ball of these positive vibes. And we're just going to kick it up next week with the same vibes. So until Tuesday with Nothing Rhymes, where we will get those feelings back up and in the forefront and talk about this playoff matchup. This Broncos defense is ready, Shy. It's coming hard. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the Buck Your Feelings post-game show. Have a fantastic week. Let's go!